crafters. Well, we're gonna get our pages together to put into our album, and I have cut down the pages for what I need. You're going to need 4 sheets of for the pages that are 7, so it'll be 7 and 8 3/4. So the height on our album is going to be 8 3/4 because it's a 9-inch cover. So I'd like to bring it down just a little bit. So we've got 4 of those, and I'll put those off to the side. And then I'm going to do, the next set is going to be 7 and 10 3/4. I just realized I cut that 1 inch too big. Okay, change that. It's actually going to be 9 3/4 because we're going to score a 1/2 inch on either end. So I made a mistake on that. So I'm gonna go back and just cut these real quick, if you can just bear with me. These are great opportunities to see where we can make some changes. So they were scored at 9 or 10 3/4. I mean, cut at 10 3/4, but we need to cut it at 9 3/4. Making sure that we're level along here. Right. See, we can all make mistakes along the way. And that's why sometimes I tend to be a little bit slower about how I do things, only because I do make mistakes along the way and cutting, and I just measure something and then I forget the next measurement. It's that short-term memory. The older you get, the worse it gets. At least for me, my long-term memory is much better. I think that's what happens, and we get caught when we get a little bit older, that we're always wanting to tell our stories from when our kids were little, or what we did when we were little, because we can remember that. We can remember everybody else's names who were in those stories. But heaven help me to remember from 2 minutes ago the measurement I made. So there we go. We've got that done. So those are 9 3/4. So what I want is this to be a 1/2 inch on either end that I'm going to score. So I'm going to take this in here, and I'm going to score all of these. I like to do it towards this end only because of the fact that I'm right-handed, so it makes it a little bit easier for me to score at a 1/2 inch. And since I know it's a 1/2 inch, I just go at 11 1/2. All right, we're going to score all of these. Now you have a choice when you're doing your pages. You can put all your pages in and then decorate your book once the pages are in your book, or you can decorate the pages outside of the album, whatever you want to do. Some people say that they like to put the pages in and then decorate, because then they don't have a lot flopping around if they have different pieces to their pages. Other people like to feel that it's easier to have them just down in the book, and they can work from page to page and they know right where they're going. So now that we have those all scored, what we're going to do is, I've done this a couple different ways. I've taken this where I've taken one of these that I've scored, and I have matched them up on the inside so that there is no hinges poking out on the outside of this. But I have found that I have much better luck when I put the hinges to the outside of my paper. The only thing that I have to be careful of is there are at times where when I cut my original standard page piece, I might have to cut a little bit off that to make sure that it fits in these folded sections. So as you can see, I'm mitering along these edges before I put this together. But basically what I'm doing is I'm putting this in like this, and I'm going to fold it over. And can you see that? How that's bunching up? So I'm going to go ahead right now, and I'm going to take a sliver, just a sliver off of that. And it's just the littlest amount that I can technically do. I like to use my guillotine if I'm doing really small pieces. So you can see it's very, very small. You can barely see it. So let's just test that now. Oh, I think I'm gonna have to take a little bit more. See how that looks. So I like to put it down like that, and making sure that my edges match all the way along, and then I will come back and put my glue down. Folding that back over. And the reason why this is fine for me is because I'm going to put pattern paper over this page, and so that hinge edge is not going to show. All right, so there we go. We have our first page. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to finish the rest of these. I'm going to cut down the items that need to be cut down that I messed up on. And when I'm done with that, we'll be right back in action. All right, so there is all of our pages that we've made them into tunnels. as Scrap Queen likes to call them. So it's kind of stuck in my brain. I call them tunnels as well, or also. And I'm sure other people do too. She has a lot of followers and a lot of good designs of mini albums. So we've got our pages. So then the next step would be is you can either go ahead and do your inside covers, or you could go ahead and get these pages put into our album. And you can see that's how why I did them a little bit shorter and smaller, so that I could get them down on here. And I could, that when they lay down, I want to get them so that they lay down flat when they go onto these hinges. And then I can go ahead and go through here and try and line up that they're actually going on even on either end, because it happens where you can get your pages off. And so it pays to spend some time just finagling with these a little bit to get them to match up properly, and also to give yourself some bit of an edge on these. So it's going to take me a little while to finagle these, but you can see how I'm putting that on here. What I will do also is I'm going to put glue on this side and this side, and I'm going to actually go ahead and do this album when it's all together. And I haven't done that in a while, so I think I'm going to go ahead and do that this time, and we'll work on it together. So let me get the pages in, and we'll see what our next steps are. Hi crafters. Okay, so I have all my pages put in, and like I said, I just put glue down both sides of the hinges, and I fit my pages on, and then I took and matched them up so that they were straight through here and like a 1/2 inch here. The unusual thing that happens though sometimes, and I'm going to show you this right here in my book, is with them folding the other way, they don't always look exactly the same as they do folding back. But I find that most people will notice how it looks this way before I go to this way. It's still on, it still works, it just is not as even as it is up here. And you know, maybe that's something I need to watch for next time, but we're all good there.